is happening, Magnusites? Are we ready to laugh? I am. See, I've been enjoying myself with the new Alien series. But it seems as though the drinker and nerdrotic are not. I can tell by the thumbnail. When I saw his thumbnail, I was rolling. All right, let's get it.
nerdrotic.com.
Friends, I don't think I'm going out on a limb here by saying entertainment has seen better days, and it seems that
Damn right.
originality is on life support, to state the obvious. You can look no further than what we've been inundated with over the last half decade. Unnecessary remakes, prequels, sequels, direct sequels, spin-offs, midquels, interquels, intraquels, standalone sequels, paraquels, sidequels, legacy sequels, soft reboots, requels, reboots, spiritual successors, spiritual sequels. Now, what the hell is a standalone sequel? No idea, but let's talk about one more entry into the creative bankruptcy.
One thing with me is that if you're going to keep making sequels, I think that as long as they're good, people will go to see them. Like, people may think that you're creatively bankrupt, but if you're still making really, really good sequels, there's certain franchises, it's, like John Wick for one, those are some great movies. Good to great movies. Those are movies that people want to keep on watching. You know what I mean? So whether they ever bring him back or not, whatever. But, he's got more than a trilogy. Once you go past the trilogy, I just think as long as they're really good, people will go to see them. But continue to work out new ideas and bring out new, things. But I think a lot of movie companies, studios are just afraid to cash in on something that is original. But at one time, all of the things that are what you lean on were original. So you got to continue to take chances.
Verse. Hell, maybe it'll be good.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
Because it's time for some more Alien. Or to be more specific, Disney's Alien.
And I keep forgetting that they're Disney's aliens. I keep forgetting that.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not again.
The last
Hello, my
entry was
baby. Hello,
Disney's
my honey.
Alien Romulus, a film a lot of people liked, but I didn't. I equated it to a greatest hits album done by a horrible cover band. The Gen Xenomorph versus Gen Z. But this one's going to be totally different because it's Disney's Alien Earth, which is Gen Z versus a Gen Xenomorph. And it's not a movie, it's a streaming series on Hulu, which is soon going to absorb Disney Plus, but renamed Disney Plus because Disney doesn't want to admit that D Plus failed. Now, I can't say my hopes were high for Alien Earth, but I was at least intrigued because it was going to be written and some episodes directed by Noah Hawley, who admittedly has done some good work with Fargo in the first 2 seasons of Legion. Unfortunately, he also made the 3rd and final season of Legion. Or are we going to get Fargo Noah Hawley or Legion Season 3 Noah Hawley? But before we even start, we already run into a bit of a problem. Alien Romulus was actually a sequel to a prequel and a prequel to a sequel, making it a midquel. Or was it technically? It was an interquel, a type of midquel that bridges the gap between 2 previously published stories. For example, a movie that occurs after the first movie, but before the second movie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
In the series.
Although I haven't had the urge to watch it again, I would watch it again.
Alien Earth is set before Alien.
Got kind of ridiculous at the end. That's where it kind of took me out of it.
Making it a sequel to a prequel and a prequel to the original, which would still make it a sequel in this case, making Alien Earth a true midquel, a story set within the time frame of an existing work, specifically between 2 already published stories or during a time.
I thought he was making those words up the further he went. I really thought he was making them up. I guess they're real.
skip within a single work. And based what I saw on the trailer, it looks like they were at least going to do something different, like finally going to Earth. Hell, maybe this will be loosely based on the excellent comic from Dark Horse, Alien Earth War.
Well,
I gotta
go
say,
to Earth.
Noah Hawley and Disney are really breaking some ground with this one, because we're going to see a xenomorph take on something it's never fought before. A skinny
Humans.
brunette woman. To be fair, they tried to introduce some new things and concepts into the live-action Alien franchise, meaning the movies and now TV show, because they've done virtually all of this in other media. In the text opening the show, mind you, this takes place 2 years before Alien. It explains there are now cyborgs, synths, and hybrids, which are synths with a human consciousness. What about the alien? They didn't mention that in the text. Again, we introduce a new environment, Earth, and they introduce new alien species. And conceptually,
You do not want those things to attach themselves to you.
I'm down with all of this. I mean, it seems like you're putting too much into an 8-episode series. I think all 3 of those things would make great individual shows, particularly the one where you're transitioning a human consciousness into a robot body, and call it Blade Runner. Oh, on second thought, considering its current era, don't. Which it's too late, because we're already going to get an unnecessary Blade Runner sequel, and once again, there is only one Blade Runner film. Sure, there are 3 versions of it, but there's still only one. But unfortunately, so far, that's what Alien Earth is. A robot show guest starring an alien. And those good ideas, well, at least so far in the first 2 episodes, let's just gloss over them. They're not important. No, instead of exploring those good ideas, the showrunners thought it was a better use of their time within the series to have a bunch of malnourished, awkwardly feminine to slightly Canadian twinks slowly walking around hallways and occasionally getting picked off by a xenomorph who's now acting like Michael Myers. And that's what's surprising about this. It's amateurish. Sure, the sets look great, just like with Alien Romulus, but unlike that movie, the practical effects are just okay and the CGI is a mess. But what's worse is the directing and the editing. Noah Hawley tries
They
to
definitely could have done better with the cat. Yeah.
imitate Ridley Scott at times, and at other times it seems like Francis Ford Coppola, and fails miserably. But there actually is something worse than that. The exposition and the dialogue, which again, I'm surprised, because in the past, Noah Hawley's been pretty good at that. The show starts out introducing you to the crew of the Totally Not Nostromo. No, this is the Weyland-Yutani USCSS Magnus. And Disney, Fox, FX, Hulu really wanted to remind you this is an alien show immediately, just in case you didn't get it in the title. Remember the computer screen reflection in the helmet?
Oh, forgot about
Remember
that.
the hypersleep chamber?
I remember that.
Remember the crew sitting around
I
eating
remember
and
that.
smoking?
I talked about that.
Remember the 2 disgruntled working class grunts?
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember Yaphet Kotto?
What the f*** going on with these member berries?
Turns out the Magaton is returning from a deep space mission, bringing back 5 alien species, including a xenomorph, to Weyland-Yutani. Sure hope nothing bad happens to that ship. And then, by the way, there's a lot of and-thens in this, we transition to a child transitioning into an adult robot body.
What?
That's right, Marcy, a terminally ill child, is going to have her consciousness transferred into an adult female super robot that she's going to name Wendy. Incidentally, the facility they're in is called Neverland. The man who owns it is Mark Zuckerberg. I'm sorry, his name is Boy Cavalier, who seems to be played like Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor in Batman vs. Superman, which was a bad imitation of Jesse Eisenberg playing Mark Zuckerberg in Social Network. And the
No, you can deal with this guy a lot better than he's way less annoying than Jesse Eisenberg was as Lex Luthor.
wheels on the bus go round and round. Anyway, Boy Cavalier is supposed to be Peter Pan, who owns the Neverland facility with Wendy. You see where I'm going with this? Oh, and they transfer the consciousness of children into other adult robot bodies and call them the Lost Boys. And just in case you weren't getting the subtle Peter Pan references here, they also make sure to show Peter Pan on the screen and have Boy Cavalier, the Peter Pan in this story, reading Peter Pan to the Lost Boys of this story. Shoo, I wasn't gonna get it until they did that. Anyway, Wendy and the Lost Boys babysitters are the St. Timothy Oliphant and Science Woman. And if you're wondering why I haven't brought up any names or anything about the Lost Boys, there's nothing to tell. Alls I know is there are a bunch of adults that act like 12-year-olds and they're diverse. Oh, there's plenty of plot in this show, but there is zero characterization. Remember when I said I sure hope something doesn't happen on the Magonaut? Something happened on the Magnus. Remember in Alien when Ash had Special Order 937, which ensured that the Xenomorph was returned to Weyland-Yutani, even if it meant sacrificing the crew? Well, I'm here to tell you, Alien Earth does something totally different. They have the cyborg, totally not Yaphet Kotto, and totally not the Nostromo, sacrifice the crew to ensure that the specimens are returned to the company. It's at
So that it rhymed.
this point when he serves up the final crew member with a harrowing acting performance.
Let me in!
We see that the cyborg has a Swiss Army arm, and that would make him the Captain Hook of the story. And the Xenomorph must be the crocodile.
I didn't even think about none of that.
Nostromo, which is half the size of a Star Destroyer, the size of a Star Destroyer, I don't really know, runs into another ship, and then crashes into Earth completely undetected. Yes, apparently humanity is cracked traveling into interstellar space, but they haven't really worked out early warning systems. And I have the same question as you do, dear viewer. Wouldn't that ship the Magaton crashed into notify anybody about it? Anyway, the Weyland-Yutani owned ship ends up going down in a Prodigy-owned island. Who owns Prodigy? Boy Cavalier. And how do we know this?
He's the first, or the youngest trillionaire ever, something like that.
Very carefully placed and subtle exposition scene within the first 5 minutes of the show where one of the...
Yeah, what the hell is up with Wang? I think his name is Wang. Or Tang or something like that. What the hell is wrong with him? Watch it. You're like, what the hell is with this creep?
Grunts explains to another who exactly he works for. Apparently, he was unaware of this despite being on a 65-year mission.
Say that's Weyland-Yutani.
That's us.
Yeah, that's who we work for.
Oh, okay.
Right? And they control North and South America. The kid hasn't done his social studies.
There's 4 companies. They govern the entire globe.
Don't forget the new one, Prodigy.
Started by a kid, maybe 10 years ago.
Boy Cavalier.
Oh, look, the Magonaut crashes into some towers. They should have called it Alien 9/11. And again, this is a complete surprise to everyone in the city, including Boy Cavalier's own security force, who just so happens to have Wendy's brother in it. Joe is a medic for the Prodigy Corporation, and apparently a pretty good one, because we know this through a random exposition scene where Wendy is telling us about him to her stuffed animals.
Well, I'm glad you asked.
By the way, nobody asks her any questions. It comes in cold.
His name is Joe. What does he do? Well,
Yeah,
he's
he
a
does.
medic, like a doctor.
And Wendy knows all this because she's spying on her brother. Apparently, she has the ability to hack any security system or computer that she's in proximity to. She also has super strength and durability.
Yep.
And later on, we learn that she can hear the aliens psychically through her synthetic mind. But apparently, she never bothered to ask why they were transferring her into an adult body until after the procedure was done.
Your breasts, they're weird. They move around when I run.
Well, you are in an adult body now.
Why?
Because synthetic bodies don't grow.
This, once again, is unnecessary exposition, and there's so much of it in this show.
So she doesn't have to. Yeah. It was like, it would be like you'd have to transfer her into a child synthetic body. And then when she got a little older, you'd have to, so. Needless steps, since you're eventually going to be an adult anyway.
Makes Mission Impossible 8 look downright reasonable. Yes, it's necessary information told in a horribly lazy way, and forgive me for stating the obvious. You would think young Marcy, before she transitioned into Wendy, would be told all the whys and hows beforehand. And while this is Mystery Box, you think they would give the viewer a little more information about Wendy, or on the other hand, all the other characters, so the viewers would actually be interested in them. The problem with this show is there's a bunch of people I don't know talking to each other. So what's Alien Earth about? Well, it's essentially a bunch of 12-year-olds in robot bodies going up against aliens without any training. Because Wendy convinces Boy Cavalier that she wants to rescue her brother from his rescue mission.
Right.
Never mind the fact that Boy Cavalier just essentially invented immortality, and these children are the most valuable things in the known galaxy. This is monumentally stupid, especially when you have battalions of expendable people. Something that's been well established in the Alien franchise, and even the show questions it.
They're not first responders. They're still in the prototype stage. The loss of a single unit would be devastating.
And the Peter Pan of our story responds with this.
Yeah, so don't lose one.
So it's a race to contain the aliens. Cyborg Captain Hook needs to contain them for Weyland Yutani, and he needs to do that before Boy Cavalier gets his hands on him, which he eventually finds out about, and sends the 12-year-olds in robot bodies to do it because the Prodigy security team, made up of about 24 people to search a ship the size of an aircraft carrier crashed into a giant skyscraper, is getting wiped out by the aliens and Cyborg Captain Hook, who, quite frankly, is the most interesting character, and if we were just following him, I'd be more into this show. Again, there's some...
Yeah, he kind of is, because he's got mystery to him. You know, understand why he is the way he is. Like, he's a cyborg. Like, okay, so if you're a cyborg, why aren't you acting more human? You know, isn't that what a cyborg is? A human with, you know, mechanical upgrades or parts or things taken off and put, you know, like it might. He acts like a machine. He makes cold, calculated decisions. He doesn't act like think of Nebula. You know, Nebula, she acts like a hardened, cold warrior, heartless warrior, but she still acts like humanoid, like she's got emotions. She's a cyborg. And Thanos made her into one, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this dude, he literally acts like the synthetics, you know, like Bishop or like the one from the, you know what I mean? That's how he acts. It's weird.
Interesting things introduced in this show that would probably make better shows individually on their own, including the 5 alien species, the aforementioned xenomorph, a testicle Venus flytrap plant, ticks, flies who we haven't seen, and the tentacle eyeball. The jury's still out on them, but other wasted concepts were transferring a human consciousness into a robot. At least in the first 2 episodes, we don't even get questions like, what's the nature of consciousness? Is Marcy, who is now Wendy, still alive? Or is that just a copy of her mind in a robot? To be fair, maybe we'll find out later because this show is a mystery box. And how is Joe gonna feel when he finally realizes his little sister that he thought was dead is in a robot body? That's a great opportunity.
I just realized Nerdrotic says robot instead of robot. I rarely hear people pronounce it like that.
Opportunity for some good drama. He would probably be horrified and angry, and you could spend the entire season with him trying to reconcile with this robot that's talking like his sister. Something to the effect.
Now that one he said like robot.
With her, but he hates her guts, even though she's spouting back all the stuff his sister used to say. And eventually, he comes to some form of acceptance. Either she is dead, but I'm okay with this copy, or she's still alive in there. You would think that, but no, it gets wrapped up pretty quickly.
That's your sister. Slightly secret.
Yeah, really
Joe,
quickly.
It's me. I wouldn't.
No, you died. I went to the funeral. I understand.
I was always the way. Joe.
Christmas morning, you were 7. You woke me up before the sound. What did you say?
I still don't think my big toe looks like my thumb.
Because he's possibly dead because the alien who couldn't manage to catch him for the entire second episode because he had plot armor finally.
It's to a point now that I've seen that Robert Downey Jr. meme so much that I don't know why he was rolling his eyes. I can't remember. Was it the first movie? Was it the first Avengers? I can't even remember anymore.
Gets them after they discover a bunch of alien eggs. So ultimately, the first 2 episodes anyway were a complete disappointment, and I was expecting more from Noah Hawley. It sacrifices any characterization.
It ends with this hard rock music, and I was like, I think this is the first time I've heard hard rock in an alien show or movie that I can remember.
For a very plodding plot, and it is most certainly a show made for secondary viewing. What is secondary viewing, you ask? Secondary viewing refers to the practice of using a second electronic device, typically a smartphone or tablet, while simultaneously watching content on a primary screen like a television or a computer. Yes, this is a thing. And that would explain everyone in this show repeatedly getting told stuff they already know, and more importantly, we already know.
It's like a zoo, but the animals got out.
It's a research vessel. Deep space model. They must have been collecting specimens.
I mean, what gave it away? The giant spaceship you just walked through with all the research labs and all the escaped specimens? Then there was the exposition no one could possibly know.
There's a creature. She's
How the hell did he know the alien was a she? Did he see those giant xenomorph calcium cannons? And those are just two examples of the horrendous expository dialogue the tech bro boy cavalier's plan with the 12-year-olds and robot cannon. How the hell? Oh,
There's a creature. She's loose.
How the hell did he know the alien was a she? Did he see those giant xenomorph calcium cannons? And those are just two examples of the horrendous expository dialogue the tech bro boy cavalier's plan with the 12-year-olds and robot bodies makes absolutely no sense. I mean, aside from sending him on a dangerous mission where you can break them, they explain his inspiration for putting the 12-year-olds in robot bodies, where he, again, essentially created immortality. As the show points out, an eternal consumer. Now, it has to be children's minds because they're more malleable than adults, which sets up some potential landmines as far as storytelling is concerned that we'll get to in just a moment. No, he created the 12-year-old in robot bodies who will live forever so he can have somebody smarter than him to talk to. A 12-year-old child.
Please have a seat right there.
I guess they could eventually mature, but you're going to have a long wait, bro, and there's no guarantee they're going to be smarter than you. This brings us to the potentials for storytelling with 12-year-olds in adult robot bodies. I'm not saying the story of a child in an adult body can't be told. Hell, there's thousands of them out there. We have Shazam. We have Big. Okay, that might not have been the best example. Just want to remind everybody that this is a Disney product. And in another Disney product, Peter Pan, Wendy does start having feelings for him. Ugh. Well, there's nothing like that yet, but there is this little piece of dialogue.
Why don't you have kids?
Well, we tried to have kids, but I have a low sperm count. Sperm. Funny word.
I mean, who in the hell says that to a 12-year-old? But I guess to be fair to the show, it kind of goes along with not just the horrendous expository dialogue, the horrendous dialogue that runs throughout it. This brings us to another interesting...
Like, did he forget he was talking to a 12-year-old or however old she is? Did he, like... It's weird.
Concept that so far they've completely fumbled being on civilized Earth in the Alien franchise. And apparently it's idiocracy. Now I'm sure some of you will say, rightly so, by the way, that hey, I just want to see xenomorphs killing people. And quite frankly, I'm rooting for the xenomorph in this one. And you really wouldn't be wrong, partially because you're the customer and you're never wrong. But yes, Alien has been reduced to what Jurassic Park / World is now for a long time. And that's the era we're in. Reimaginations turn to regurgitations, which make slop. Now call me naive or old-fashioned, I'd still prioritize maybe telling a good story, moving it forward instead of trying to shoehorn it into canon. For example, that gun that can stun an alien used by cyborg Captain Hook probably would have come in handy in the future films. And a bunch of warrior hybrid super soldiers probably would have been a nice thing to have in Aliens. And I'm positive there'll be some stupid explanation like they did in Star Trek Discovery when they had to explain away the reason why Spock had a human black female foster sister that he never talked about. By the way, they said she's classified. And I'm just scratching the surface of the tech and the concepts they already introduced that are going to create problems in something that comes before Alien and Aliens. And they still have 6 episodes to go. Now, Noah Hawley says essentially one of the messages in Alien Earth is, do humans deserve to live?
We have combined the story of humanity facing this existential threat, both from biological monsters and from synthetic artificial intelligence, which always raises the question, does humanity deserve to survive?
After watching this, humans don't deserve to write. As I've said before, this era of reimagination regurgitation is just human AI, which is ironic because Hollywood's biggest fear is AI. A lot of the themes you're going to see in a lot of movie and TV shows are going to be about AI, and they're going to feel like they were written by AI. But maybe I'm just misunderstanding this high work of art, and thanks to the media literacy crowd with pronouns in their bios, I am going to be put in my place because the Alien franchise has always been about the body, its boundaries, its vulnerabilities, its transformations. Alien Earth reframes this through a sharp, queer-coded lens. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Now, I might not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but that's a bold statement, saying a show about 12-year-old children stuffed in adult robot bodies is queer-coded.
Please have a seat right there.
Any children...
What did I miss?
Alien Earth.
The Alien franchise has always been about the body, its boundaries, its vulnerabilities, its transformations. Alien Earth reframes this through a sharp, queer-coded... What? No.
Earth reframes
Absolutely
this
not.
through a sharp, queer-coded lens.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
I knew I must have missed something
Be the sharpest
to go
tool in the
back.
shed, but that's a bold statement. Saying a show about 12-year-old children stuffed in adult robot bodies.
Guess that was partly zoning.
Please have a seat right there.
Anyway, we'll see if the show rallies and it actually gets good. But as it stands right now, there are still only 2 Alien movies, Alien and Aliens, and 0 TV shows.
nerdrotic.com.
If you like what you heard, please like.
Get over and follow Nerd Rock. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. 10 million subscribers. Woo!